Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the RuneScape Chronicle Legend Tournament Invitational. This is, of course, day number 2 in our community ran 16-player single bracket elimination tournament featuring some of the game's top names from Ladder and Twitch. And today we do have 4 more series taking place for the first half of the round, or sorry, the second half, I should say, of the round of 16. Of course, the previous half we did yesterday. The VODs are available in the past broadcasts on Twitch. They may or may not make it onto YouTube, but certainly future rounds of the tournament will definitely be on YouTube. But for this round of 16, maybe not, I'm not sure. But yes, tomorrow we do have the quarterfinals. That is Saturday, starting at this very same time. And then, of course, on Sunday, the semi-finals and, of course, the grand finals as well. So lots to look forward to this weekend, lots of Chronicle action. But today, as I mentioned, we do have 4 games for you today. The first being Jag versus Glenn. Tuztok Jag, I love that name. But let's turn this on here, and we can see this is Jag currently about to get into the game. And they'll be starting momentarily, I believe. We may only have Jag's stream for this. I'm waiting on getting Suki's stream. He is, of course, using YouTube Gaming due to recent happenings on Twitch.
No, we have Glenn.
Oh, Glenn. What am I even talking about? I haven't got Glenn. Why did I think we're up against Suki? I have no idea. I think it's because we were talking about YouTube Gaming from earlier. But is Glenn streaming?
Glenn is streaming. His private stream is
All
in
right,
your
that's perfect.
direct messages in Discord.
I'll grab his thing then. But as you can hear, I'm joined by Ty Flicky, who will be casting later, and of course Unforgiven. Hello, Unforgiven. How are you doing?
Hello, doing good.
Perfect. All right, let's see if I can get this up. So you are recently you finished second, didn't you, in Gold Ladder, and I would say you're one of the best players in the game, which is why I wanted you to cast today. And of course, Wolf is rank 1, and he's currently as well. He'll be joining us over the weekend. But Unforgiven, where are you at the moment?
On ladder, I'm currently, I think, around 6th place with around 30 prestige, or 5th.
Yeah. Okay, looks like the game has just begun. Jaggerus versus Glenn. Game number 1 seems to be a Linza mirror here. I'm going to try and get Glenn's perspective up so I can use that to cast. There he is, Glenn 1 Wolves. But Unforgiven, do you want to begin? What's going on whilst I get this set up?
Okay, so we have Arya and Mirror matchup here from both of them. Now, for Arya, there's currently 2 most popular versions that I'd say that run either the spell books or the really aggressive one-attack Arya. Now, Glenn seems to be running actually spell books with a bit of like direct damage cards like Wind Strike, which might mean that he's more aggressive, while Jag has what you'd call slower spellbook type of combo deck, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get this set up, but Wind Surge coming out, so definitely aggressive matchups from both players. Fairly normal things. There's not like a late game Ariane or anything like that coming out.
Well, there was the Borago, which may or may not indicate that they have some interest in the late game too.
Yeah. I've almost got this up. I, for some reason, thought we were using Suki's. I was trying to get that already, and that's why that happened. But, yeah, Virago is an interesting choice in here. But if you're able to kill it right, you're going to be able to get that huge weapon, and, Enfeeble is definitely a card that we can see in Jag's hand, which would enable her to kill that. And then you can, slam the Wilderness
power
down.
from the Lunar Spellbook also is a nifty combo with it if she's running that.
Yeah, that's true. If the spellbook is in there, borrowed power, take your opponent's attack, equal to their total attack +1, and then it gives you plenty of damage to then kill the Virago and pick up that giant weapon here. But coming out of Jag, we do see the bar fight. She's going first, going to clean up that weapon there, and do 1 damage to boot. And now Glenn's going to have to face tank a Yoga Shaman without the weapon there, and that could end up.
That's actually huge.
Is how much damage is that? It's not lethal. He's going to be able to kill it, but I'm not. He's only going to do a tiny bit of damage to Jag. She's only got 4 cards in hand. There's 8 damage coming out. But now that he's considerably low health, I think that cleans him up. Yeah, that Yoga Shaman's going to kill him.
Indeed. Actually, no. It's 1 damage. Oh yeah, the Caliphite Worker.
Yeah, the Calphite Worker going to take a tiny bit of damage from that, and whilst he's fighting it, he only has
well-timed weapon snipe, I guess you could say,
Yeah,
winning the
Jaggers.
game for
Yeah.
Jag.
Bar fight, definitely a good include, even if you're only going to be at one attack. It's absolutely, a card that is really, really strong versus, in pretty much every matchup, right?
Exactly. Most of the really good decks tend to rely on weapons, at least to some extent, since they're so powerful.
Yeah. All right. So game number 2 going to be coming up, and I believe we do have Glenn's perspective now. It only took me the entire game to get that going.
So we're seeing Vaneskula from Jaggerus this time. Interested to see if it's the aggressive version or the more, I guess, slower version with some heals like Culinary and such. Looks like there's some heat. This is actually an attack stacking Vaneskula with Chads and Dagon
Stack of Sharks as well coming out. Okay, so a more late game, sort of Raptor style of Vanescula, you could say. Current Raptor likes to build a lot of AP and a lot of armor and health and has plenty of sustain here. This is perhaps a similar deck with the Dagonov Sentinels in there, but also running Gorge, an extremely powerful card. And if you can get that to work in this deck.
I'm interested to see if she's including any sort of Dark Strike-esque strike combos in the deck to maybe finish off the opponent.
Glenn is looking out for his White Wolf there into a cow fight for the weapon. He's considering the placement of that alchemy. He wants to make sure he can dodge any sort of battling going on. He's up against Vanescula, and of course Bar Fight and Wilderness are likely to be in the deck, and he wants to make sure that weapon sticks, so of course it can work out for him okay. But what do you think? Jag does lose the Gorge. She's not going to be too happy about that. This deck, though, that Jag is running, it looks like it's going to be quite strong against an Ariane, or against an aggressive deck generally. If you can sort of dodge the Ferns and the Moenas, those things that will hurt the big creatures, should be okay, because Gorge, you're going to be able to continue to deal damage and keep your health high here. But Jag in the early game, just loading up the gold, double Ali Morrisane coming out. And that's what
definitely have to be very careful playing around that mortal range with the stack of sharks and gorges to stay alive.
Yeah. But so what we're seeing from Glenn then, he's clearly been building a lot of gold with the Calphite Worker into the alchemy. Most likely will be wanting to get those spellbooks, right?
Yeah, you normally want to get the spellbook chapter 1. Doesn't happen always as it is the case right now, but hopefully he can get it out as soon as possible if he wants to snatch the win.
Yeah, you want to get those spells sooner rather than later, since they do so much work. It doesn't always happen. It's one of the limitations, as you mentioned, of playing that class, perhaps. But Jag, by the looks of it, what can she do here? She's got the Hunger available, could bring up to 4 attack, but not going to be hugely useful for killing anything there.
Just throwing cards and ramping. What's interesting, if she decides to go for the Slime Toes into Wilderness combo for some damage. She is going second, so carrying over the weapon would be hard, and turns out she's not going for it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what is Glenn up to? I didn't quite catch his turn.
Okay, Archmage Cetridor coming in huge there for 9 damage on the Carassian Warrior.
Yeah, going to take a 9. Well, yeah, clearly the 9 damage and the 7 damage normally that it is done. Being caused to be done due to the extra health that it had. Yep. Next up, Ali Morrisane. So the rest of the chapter's fairly empty for Jag. There's not a huge amount left. That she could do.
Glenn is still looking for that book. It looks like only Lady Heffin to try to survive until he can get it.
Okay, so now we are looking at... What can Jag do here, then? She's got a Tormented Demon in hand, which might be quite difficult to kill, considering she's quite low on life, though his opponent hasn't found...
I imagine she wants to get a weapon into some big creatures after getting herself on a mortal range for that Gorge is something she's looking at first.
Yeah.
Maybe killing Culinary or something. Killing a Jad might be somewhat risky, but she might want to... I think it's worth it. We'll see if she decides...
That Wilderness is going to interact with the Kale. She's played a Wilderness in slot 1. That Kale there is, she's going to lose a durability from that, and as a result of it, is going to not have the weapon to fight the creatures and will be ending up taking more damage here. But Jag, placing the Wilderness in slot 1, of course, she wants to get down into mortal range because she knows her opponent will strike her back, and then, of course, can get this Gorge off, get that heal in sooner rather than later during the early portion of this chapter. But
the mortal range Gorge is a huge health swing in a matchup like this.
Yeah, and in this sort of aggro match, but 14 health swing is absolutely massive, right? And there's the 4 damage coming in that Glenn would have liked to have used the weapon to dodge, though looks like Jag quite low on health still, and this is going to be quite concerning for her.
That actually looks like she's gonna die to that Tormented Demon.
Yeah, 4 damage coming in from it, from the return, and plus, the 3 damage from the Scorpion there, I believe it was, or whatever it was, plus the 4 damage that it does when it dies. Yeah, that does mean, sadly, this giant creature is going to hit her there, but...
that creature is too powerful.
Even for me, said the raptor. Yeah, so that's game number 2. The score is 1-1, am I right?
Yes, it's 1-1 right now.
Okay, so this is the...
So we'll see if Jack sticks to the Van Eskla or wants to bring out something else. And looks like she wants to play a Linza deck now.
Okay.
It might be Grief or Weapon Linza, we'll see. I think both are quite viable currently.
I think so as
now,
well.
Glenn hasn't shown anything other than the Ariane so far, so let's see what he's got in store for us in addition.
So yeah, Jag queuing up with Linza as we can see there. Now I switch over. He's deciding which to pick. Has gone with the Raptor, and I imagine this is going to be the Dark Strike Raptor. I know I saw Glenn playing that on ladder recently, and certainly a deck he's quite strong with. Glenn.
And this Linza deck is already it's heal spam alright. With some sort of weapon combos with the Tetsu Katana, maybe for the final fight, maybe it's the type of OTK deck that tries to deal 30 damage in one chapter.
Yeah, and I think that could be quite strong against Raptor. Raptor, currently, he takes a long time to get to where he wants to go. I mean, you can get quite early Viragos and quite early wins, but it takes a while to build up his agenda to get where he wants to be. And if he's up against the Linza, he's not going to be too careful with his health in the early game. He might be okay tanking Daganov Sentinels, and then that gives Linza the opportunity to get that Tetsu Katana out, possibly then into something like Pulverize and Kalgur and cards like that here. But this particular deck, by the looks of it, opening with a lot of gold very quickly into the Tetsu Katana there, so you're going to get plenty of health. And
full Tetsu.
Yeah, full Tetsu, you're right. Sorry, I said the wrong word. But we'll switch over to Glenn and see what he has in store.
Looks like standard ramp so far from Glenn. Nothing that is not expected from the current Raptor decks.
Yeah, KGP coming out, going to build that one attack there.
And lots of card draw. Build your hand again.
Yep, he's up to 4 AP, he's going to kill that, so even has an extra attack power in over the 3 that you need to kill that Krausian Warrior. Was playing around something like a Dust Devil, or perhaps an Ogre Brew, anything like that, and going to kill the weapon there, and he's going first, so he is going to be able to use that weapon in, of course, his next slot, without it being griefed. He's got a whole way to use that, but now if we switch over to Jag, we can see she does have the Major Mary Rancor, and it is... this possibly could come out. The thing is, though, can Glenn use up the whole weapon? Would it be worth Major Marrying? That's the question she has to ask herself here. Is going to start with the Ali Morrisane by the looks of it. So not going to Major Marry.
Doesn't look like she wants... Yeah, doesn't look like she wants to go for the Major Marry. It might be part of her concern for the Virago. That's how she wants to counter it when it comes out, and she's not expecting it now, apparently, since...
Yeah,
she's not playing it.
I mean, it could potentially come out. He's on 8 attack there, but he does not have the Virago. Here, though, what we do see is a Wilderness going to come out, and he's actually going to start using that weapon to start dealing damage right away.
Chief is interesting card to see in a Raptor.
Yeah, that is actually. But still, going to deal damage to there, does the 6 damage, and it makes me wonder what this deck... Well, maybe this is perhaps a more damage-focused Raptor then, with, adding cards like Ogre Chieftain. That might be very, very good in the, the Raptor Mirror matchup, and Glenn teching cards like that to deal with, other classes that have huge weapons or get a very, very high total attack power. So, Linza is one of those if she gets the Tetsu Katana out. And Jag did she have a lot of gold? I wasn't looking. I'm not sure. Maybe Glenn was expecting some sort of weapon to come out.
Yes, a lot of gold. She has 9 gold right now and potential to gain even more.
Look, there's the
and
Virago,
she also
though.
has a Revenant Orc in hand.
He's found it. The Virago has come out. The question is, can he kill it? He's on 5 AP, so he could, but there's really no reason to do that.
We
He's
will
got
have
no
to see if
wildernesses.
Jax tries to predict any combos here. Doesn't not look like it, though.
Yeah, it might be still a bit early, right? He's on 5 AP, so it's perfectly likely he could kill it, but he's only got 4 cards in hand, and as we can see, well, we can't see anymore, but he didn't have anything useful to kill the Virago with, so, well, you could kill the Virago, obviously. He'd take 14 damage doing it, but then he gets 6 armor back, but he didn't have anything after that, like wildernesses or dark strike, or any any of the things that you can start striking with. Jag using the weapon here to keep her armor high, and then repurposing it into armor at the end there. So hasn't found any kind of OTK just yet. And at the moment, this deck does look fairly healing. Well, actually, there's a Revenant Orc in hand, so it does have damage potential. Absolutely.
It probably has damage combos in there if she can find them.
Yeah,
and
but
even
primarily
for some extra grief.
There it is, yeah. And that's going to be really good against. Let's switch over to Glenn's perspective and see what he's adding. Down we see the Dagon of Sentinel coming down slot 1, though. Jag is going second, though, so the Fern isn't going to hit anything like that. What it will hit is the Krasian Warrior, by the looks of it, unless he does change the positioning a bit. And that's, really good for her. That's a lot of damage coming in.
It's 7 damage.
Yeah, so what are we looking at from... What else can Jag do here? She's just going to play the Fern, nothing else there. She could have played
Only Fern.
Yeah, not ready to play the Tetsu Katana into the Orc yet. Perhaps still waiting on other cards to go with it, like a Pulverize and other things, possibly. But the deck does seem very heavily geared to defending against aggro, and obviously we've seen a lot of aggro in this tournament so far. Things like Ozan and, of course, Ariane, very popular. So I can see a deck like this and why it would be good and why she would bring this to a tournament. But Glenn, yes, he took a fair bit of damage there, but still fairly high life, and actually playing it very safe with the 10 heal at the very end of the chapter there. Yep. And
now I think the Major Mary will here come out at some point. Now we will have to see if it will hit the Virago, because I think that will be huge if it will.
I'm looking at Glenn's screen right now. What does he draw? He gets the he's got the equipment he needs there. He's got the Revenant Dark Beast, and is there anything else though? He's going to barricade first. That's effectively a 15 life because you get 10 armor, of course. Decrease the Virago by 5 so that you'll take less damage there. And then he's going to take that weapon into the final fight. Where is the Major Mary? There's a bar fight in slot 2, and that of course is going to hit any weapon he equips in slot 1. But she's moved it to slot 1.
Also, slot 3 Major Mary coming in, looks like.
Yeah, slot 3. That is going to be... That's clutch. That's exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah, that might be game winning.
That means the Dark Beast is not going to... She's not going to take a huge amount of damage from that. But what does Glenn have? How much base attack does he have? Of course, the weapon currently he's holding is a 3-1 weapon, so he does have significantly more base attack, and that's going to be very meaningful in the final fight, with or without the Virago. And of course, the Dark Beast isn't going to be, he's not going to have a weapon to fight it. He's going to take 8 damage from it. But what did she play the Tetsu Katana in the end slot?
Yeah, Tetsu Katana in the end.
Okay, that's a lot of extra damage, right?
That's 24 extra damage.
Yeah, and that's going to mitigate the bonus that Glenn has. But there's the 7-5 weapon coming in strong, and of course he's not.
The one strike he gets off before the Major Mary is really huge. Takes half of Jack's health away.
Yeah, that's so much
Just
health.
one strike, which is actually huge.
Yeah, I actually thought she had managed to hit that. I thought that the weapon would have been destroyed there. Being replaced with the 1-1, yeah, that's so much damage. And then the Ice Nile coming in, of course, he's going to grab himself 4 armor plus 3, and he's going into this fight with well over full life. I think, that one strike was possibly what lost the game here, because, Glenn would have 8 less health.
It was more than enough to win for Glenn.
Yep, he's definitely taken game number 3 in convincing fashion there. But I really like the
I'd say it was a closely fought game.
Yeah, it was
a lot
very
of mind
close.
games with the weapon removal.
Yeah. She, had a lot of, the bar fight there. I imagine there possibly was 2 of those in the deck, and the Major Mary, there could have been 2 of those in there as well, and almost hit the Virago, and with the Tetsu Katana, did what she needed to do.
It came down to 1 slot difference, sadly.
Yeah, but that does conclude the first series in our best of 3 today. So we'll switch this off now, and I believe so. That does mean Jag is eliminated from the tournament, and Glenn does move through to the quarterfinals, which will be, of course, tomorrow. So we'll find out who he's up against then. But we do have 9 minutes until the next series will be starting, so do stay tuned, everybody. My name has been Interjection. I'm casting, of course, with Unforgiven.
Bye.
And we'll see you. We'll see you in about 9 minutes for the next one. Alright, hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Sorry about the delayed start. I showed you both the trailers there because we're having a few problems, or at least Exils and Suki are, but they will be short starting momentarily. They selected their decks and then for some reason it would not begin, the game would wait. So they've restarted their clients and they should be beginning very shortly. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the RuneScape Chronicle Legend Tournament Invitational. This is a community-ran 16-player single-bracket elimination tournament featuring some of the game's top players from Ladder and Twitch. And today, this is our second series of 4 taking place for, of course, the second half of the round of 16. The previous games were yesterday. We had 4 of them. And the second half of the round of 16 is right now. So, of course, I think actually they might be ready to begin. No, maybe not. I'm not sure. Actually, never mind. Just ignore me. But, yes, tomorrow will be Saturday, and we will have the quarterfinals. And on Sunday, we'll have the semi-finals and the grand finals. So, lots to look forward to this weekend. Lots of Chronicle action. But today, as I mentioned, as you can see, we do have game number 2 between General Suki and Exils. My name is Interjection. I'll be bringing you the action live, and Unforgiven has left us. We are now joined by Pacosko. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to try and follow in the footsteps of Unforgiven somehow.
But yeah, you wanted to do some casting. You do a lot of streaming. Do you want to tell us all about it whilst we have some time to kick?
Yeah, can do. So yeah, I stream Chronicle. Kind of previously OSRS, followed Jagex new game, and am now not sleeping enough because it's so addicting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I love this game.
If you want your sleeping pattern wrecked, this is the game to play. Forget drinking late nights, forget going out partying, just play Chronicle, and you know for a fact that you will have some sort of sleeping disorder by the end of the year. But yeah, just how it is. I stream Chronicle over my channel. I'm not the best player in the world. I just like talking about the game, talking to people. I would say my main thing is interaction. But yeah, I enjoy watching good players, and I enjoy sort of losing to bad ones. That's the way it works.
You enjoy losing to bad ones. That's an interesting. Well, or do you mean beating the bad ones? I think you meant.
When I beat the bad ones, I'll say how I enjoy it. Unfortunately, I'm not the best, but I do enjoy sort of learning from that experience, learning from new decks.
Well, you said you like watching Chronicle. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be watching 2 very strong players, of course. General Suki, I believe, number 3 currently on the ladder, and finished somewhere around there for the previous stage. Obviously, every 14 days, I believe we're calling them stages. Every 14 days, the ladder resets. And Suki, definitely a very strong player, so I'll be interested to see what decks he brings and how he plays them for, of course, this tournament here. Exils is also a very, very strong player. Currently, I am making a tier list with him and Unforgiven for Dungeoneering, so look out for that, chronicledex.com. It will be coming soon. Exils, of course, a very good player, especially in Dungeoneering, knows what he's doing, and I'm also looking forward to seeing how he performs in this tournament as well. Games should be starting soon.
Does, however, look like we've got a bug here, so hopefully it all runs smoothly.
Yeah, I'm sure Ty Flicky will tell us all about it if there is actually a game bug for the entire game. But, yep, just waiting for the games to begin, and then hopefully we can get this underway.
I'm not really sure how this matchup's going to go, to be honest, because it is a very close matchup in terms of sort of player ability and consistency. Obviously, some people are going to be thinking maybe Suki has a little bit of an edge, but to be honest, it's so close. I wouldn't want to call it if I was going to have to.
Do you think so? I'm not certain Suki does have the edge. I think Suki definitely a good player, but he likes to play decks that. Well, I don't know how to put it. I think like his decks are definitely based on on observations he sees in the meta. But I don't know how to put it. I think Suki stands a good chance, but Exil's definitely a strong player as well. He says, "Bet on Game Grime and recycle a wise old meme."
pretty much sums the whole thing up there. I mean, to be fair, I think it depends on how many risks they're going to be taking. I don't think they're going to be taking huge risks, obviously, but I think it all really depends on the way they're going to be playing those risks, and also if they're going to be playing cards that they're not, because they're both streamers. They both probably watch each other. It's very dependent on if they're going to play cards the other person doesn't expect them to play, and that could be a risk in itself.
I think we might be about to get into the game. Looks like, yes, it has begun. And just to sum up your comment, yes, it does depend on what cards they play on the outcome of the match. I absolutely agree with that statement through and through.
And when you say it like that, it just sounds like...
No,
the
you
most
made
obvious
sense.
thing
I
in the
knew
world.
what you were saying. But if we're
Yeah.
going to put it in a brief nutshell, there is that. But this is game number 1 between Exils and, of course, General Suki, aka Natsuki. Here we do have... this is Exils we're looking at, playing a... what could be described as a well, possibly a griefing deck, but certainly running the Ogre Brutes there, wants to put his opponent low on attack, and this is going to be very, very effective at beating the Raptor. It may or may not be grief at this point, but I'm tempted to believe this is more sort of a late-game Linzer that wants to go into the final fight, possibly with a weapon. Just going to bring the Ogre Brute for the time being, and nothing else there. By the looks of it, also, the stream is out of sync. The YouTube gaming stream is a bit out of sync.
Yes,
I'll
we
fix
do.
that now. If you pause it, you
Yep.
can, and then unpause it later on, and it'll be where it needs to. Actually, that's not how that works.
No, I've got a feeling we are just going to be completely out of sync. I mean, just to quickly pick up on the comment you said there about the Linzer deck that's being played, I actually would say that it's going to be one of two extremes. It's either going to be a very early game deck, but then again, against a Raptor, I'm not sure in early decks. I mean, it could have a little bit of an effect, but depending on how many attack boosting cards, base attack boosting cards the Raptor deck's going to be playing, the Ogre Brutes might actually be made null and void, and that damage could come back on to the
Ooh.
Linzer deck.
There is a Fern there. Okay, so that's... but we're going to start with the tool belt, and that makes sense. Of course, Exils is going first. The tool belt is going to destroy that 4-1 weapon and make it very difficult for, of course, Natsuki to... well, he's not going to be able to use that. It's going to be much harder to kill whatever creature he chooses to play. And obviously we can't see his hand, so we're not going to go what that is. But then the Goblin Raider going to come out into the Dust Devil to reduce his opponent's AP down, and then finish the chapter off with another Ogre Brute to bring it down. And with the Ferns in there, this definitely looks like it's either teched against Raptor, or that it's some sort of late-game deck with Ferns in it to, you know, sort of maybe help with the extra damage along the way. Just... Rolo the Stout coming out by the looks of it. I can't see any other cards for the time being within the second, third slot, and the fourth slot, just up in the top right corner. Not there as well. So Exile's going to bring his opponent all the way down, and that's going to make the Raptor agenda very difficult. It's going to make Natsuki find it hard to kill the big creatures. But generally, I think, I'm just going to preface what this deck, what Exiles is trying to achieve. I think with the Ogre Brutes and the Dust Devils, of course, he wants to bring his opponent down as much as possible, stifle his opponent's agenda as much as possible, make it very difficult for Raptor to get off his feet and really do anything, and sort of kill the big creatures, and ultimately get to that final fight. And of course, as you can see, Exils does have a repurpose there. I imagine he'll have lots of other heals in the deck, possibly Fishing Trawler, possibly a full Tetsu, and he'll get up to full health, maybe equip a weapon in the final slot. He's going, well, yeah, and then, you know, it's actually Stack of Sharks. No, Exile's definitely a fan of that card. And then go into the final fight, hopefully with an edge over the Raptor, because he's managed to keep his attack low all game. But what do we see in Picosco? Stack of Sharks in slot 1.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the way he's playing this deck, it really does depend on how much armor he's got in his deck as the Raptor deck. I mean, to be honest, if the Raptor's also going to be playing Stack of Sharks, a big weapon may be slightly beneficial. You know, Stack of Sharks. Bash followed by a Stack of Sharks, maybe in the final round. It all really depends on how he's playing his deck and what cards he's saving. I mean, what we're seeing at the moment, obviously, is Linzer is trying to build a little bit of a weapon, and most likely going to go for the durability and the attack on that at some point soon, or she's going for the big creatures, which we can see by the Fern. She's just trying to basically damage the Raptor as quickly as possible, meaning his armor is pretty useless, so he can't play those armor beneficial cards if he does have any in the deck. I sound like I'm rambling here because, to be honest,
No, you're right, but he's grabbing the weapon there, he's using it to kill the Fern, and then he's going to make use of the weapon there. Not the durability, but certainly an option Linzer does have sometimes available to her. But in this case, going to use that weapon to gain 10 armor there, going to get up ready for that final fight, right? He wants to start getting his armor back up. And as you can see, yes, like there is a health, they're about the same amount of health. I believe Raptor has a 4 effective life higher, but they're very similar attack at this point. And it's actually very difficult for Raptor now to kill the big creatures without weapons. So you're right, using the weapons to the Linzer agenda here, and now lots of gold game potential by the looks of it. You know, Ice Warriors, of course, and the Varrock Museum's going to play them without, of course, the weapon. By the looks of it, wants to save that weapon for something else. And I'm starting to wonder what that could be. Possibly the Dust Devils. You know, there's a second one that he hasn't played yet. Out comes a Black Knight Titan. That is a card that's going to be quite punishing to kill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be punishing, but to be honest, the Black Knight Titan at this point maybe wasn't played at the best time. I know it's round 4, but maybe he should have kept the Black Knight Titan to round 5 in case a big weapon came out to reverse said damage.
He is going second, so you're right there. But I think what he was aiming for was a weapon in slot 1, which he could have equipped to then kill a Dust Devil. So that Black Knight Titan was being used to deny the weapon into a Dust Devil that could have happened. In this case, there was no Dust Devil, but yeah, certainly would be very good, as you're saying, to counter a weapon in the final slot. He is going second. That's absolutely available to do that.
That's what I was thinking. Even if he was prepping for a Dust Devil, I'm not sure really if he should have worried about the Dust Devil as much as Linzer building the big weapon for the end, and then just coming in with those big hits.
He's gonna use that, of course, Count Draenor to take 4 health off the Jad. Does kill the Jad. Very clean kill, as we saw. He actually had 3 attack going into a Jad that had 3 health, and that was kind of risky. In the sense that if any kind of grief, like a Fern, a Work Order, Work Order is not a card you often see, it could potentially be put into a tournament deck. So there's the Fern, so, if that hits a Jad or something like that, Suki would have been very low, but I think, Suki knows he has to get his attack up if he wants to win in that final fight. He's going to have to take those risks if he wants to win. He needs to get that attack power up, and despite that being such a risk, that Jad, he was happy to do it anyway. Here, Exils putting a Kale in the final slot, because, of course, he wants that weapon, right? Major Mary, he's debating where to put that. He also, of course, wants to counter a potential weapon coming out of the Raptor, and Virago is something we like to talk about quite a lot. But
Definitely.
Fern, we'll see what that hits. I'm not entirely sure. And does Suki draw the Virago? That's another question. And if so, will he be able? There it is. The Virago does come out.
First slot.
Gonna give him the 5/5 weapon +2. And the question is, what will he do? I know Suki, generally speaking, doesn't prefer to run sort of the Dark Strike combo that we talk about. He likes to stack a lot of armor, and he does that through things like animated armor. So we'll see if that's going to be coming up. But if he can, he's got this attack power lead, and if he can bring that into the final fight with plenty of armor by chaining out the animated armor. Yeah, there's an animated armor. The Fern does come out, but it's not going to be effective at all. Of course, he's going to slam that 10 HP straight into the ground. There's 11 armor. If he can chain these out, if he can get his health back up, and the Major Mary weapon is going to replace the giant Virago one, and now going back down. But yes, if he can have enough armor, if he can stack up the health and armor, go into the final fight, Raptor does have more AP and he'll win that way. The question is, well, is it a question? I think.
No, I think to be honest, this is going to be going to. Well, actually, no. It might be a little bit of a question, but I would say that Raptor's got this.
Yeah, Raptor looks like it. He's got 44 effective life, which is a bit more than Linzer. And of course, once this weapon runs out that Linzer has, that is only keeping him afloat for a tiny bit. He's got 100% more damage output. 4 AP compared to 2 there. It's only a matter of time. That he'll just knock him down. I like to call it. He's got more clock. I hope that term catches on because.
I'd say that Linzer on that last hand didn't get the perfect draw that she needed. She got a little too many weapons. I mean, obviously there was damage via some of those weapon effects.
What Linzer was missing was, she got that Fern a bit late, and she did not find that second Dust Devil. If she'd found the second Dust Devil, that would have made so much difference, because one less attack in that final fight is huge, right? But that was not the case.
I'm not sure.
There.
I still think the final outcome would have been the same even with that Dust Devil, to be honest.
Well, it depends, right? Because if he'd taken one attack down and then he had to fight that Jad with 1 less HP, but then he did actually have the Black Knight Titan, didn't he? So Suki, very good player, was thinking about that. But that game is over now. What is the next matchup? We do have Raptor. What do you think he'll queue?
I can see it's a Linzer. To be honest, I probably wouldn't have called a Linzer there, just for the simple reason that the Raptor deck did show that it could deal with most of Linzer's moves there, but the Dust Devil didn't come out. So it's all very much dependent on how they play it. And the good thing about both of these heroes and both these decks they are quite, if you don't get the right draw, there are a few little strategies you can go around. You can get around that. They are quite malleable decks. Quite a good first draw there, though.
Yeah, definitely lots of flexibility. Raptor, I think, with all of the weapons that are available to it, you can ramp into these big creatures. You've got those options open to you. There's no, cut. I mean, you do curve out as Raptor, but I think it's, very flexible, and Linzer is as well, as you're mentioning there. But KGP Agent coming out in slot 1, and that is, I think, going to play around the Dust Devil a bit. It's going to give him the extra attack power he needs to stay at 2 at least, so that he can continue. There's a Wilderness. I really like this placement from Exils. He's playing around a potential Dust Devil and weapon. That Wilderness is going to.
I mean, he's taking a big risk there though with the KGP with the Kayla in hand. I mean, unless he's got he obviously does have a backup, but I wouldn't have played that the first hand. I would have saved that to the second, saved that until I could play Kayla. But I'm guessing he's anticipating some sort of Ogre Brute here. So.
Ooh. Yeah, it does lose the Color Neuromancer, so actually, you know, that card not going to be as useful in this matchup where Linza's not intending to do any burst damage. So it does keep the Kale, and certainly, you know, playing the Kale this chapter so it doesn't get discarded, or keeping the KGP Agent is an option you have there. Is going to take, you know, 1 durability off this weapon and deny Suki 1 gold. Of course, that's 1 less durability, means Varrock Museum will turn it into 1 fewer gold. And if that was a Dust Devil, it wouldn't have been denied, but if it was any other weapon, say a weapon with less durability, like the Goblin Raider or the Corpse Archer weapon, that would have been denied there. But 1 less gold might be relevant to Suki. We'll see what he has coming up. Actually, by the looks of it, just stacking the gold. But a nice call from Exils to play that, and does keep the Kale to boot. Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just in terms of what you were saying about the weapon, playing any weapons, any other weapon he would have played there, most likely if it's a 2 durability
or 3,
unless it's a 0 cost, 2 or 3, sorry. Unless it's a 0 cost weapon, obviously there are a few in there that are very good 2 or 3 durabilities, but most likely. That she knew that the weapon was going to go. He knew that the weapon was going to go at some point, so he did play that one first.
Dual Tournament coming out as well. Doing the same thing here, looking to use up the weapon durability so that he can, of course, perhaps not choosing to do that. Tormented Demon, though, in Raptor, that is an interesting call. This card is particularly strong in Dungeoneering, and I know that Exils, as I mentioned, a big fan of Dungeoneering, very good at it. And here, taking the Tormented Demon, possibly one of the favorites he likes there, and bringing it into this as well. And I can absolutely see why. Like the AP that gives you, the attack power plus the 4/2 weapon, like Ramp is really, really big and lets you continue killing big creatures that Raptor likes to kill, like Dagannoth Sentinels and well, just big creatures. So certainly the weapon will be useful. And Dual Tournament does come out, but actually Work Order is the card Suki plays, so here, still playing around those Dust Devils, I really like it, but Work Order is still going to resolve, since of course he only requires 1 durability for that.
And I suppose the thing as well is this Raptor deck is basically putting a position on Kayla, not Kayla, bloody hell, it's one of those days, putting a position on Linza to have to play more cards to counteract it. So she's actually going to have to, unless she gets the perfect draw, she will, if she wants to counteract that weapon plus everything else.
Karam coming out, that is absolutely huge. That card does so much work for 7 gold there. And I think, Exils, could have... Well, actually, no, there's not really any real way to play against. I mean, but the result of that here is he's not going to kill this in 1 hit. He takes an additional hit and then is... So it's actually, the result of that is 4 damage. He has lost 2 AP, and he's not going to be too happy about that. But with the 1 that he gets there, back up to 2, and the 4/2 weapon that, comes to boot, actually really, really effective. Tormented Demon showing us how good that card is right now, of course. Despite being lowered to 1 attack, he's still in the game with a very large total attack, and that's going to be really useful for killing. The second Tormented Demon, just... really, really nice chaining these out, and Barricade to boot as well. That card is, absolutely going to help him kill the Tormented Demon, no problem at all.
And the only issue, obviously, I can see here is with his draw now, he's got some very big creatures in there now, and that drop of attack won't make a huge difference, but it will make him have to think a little bit harder on if he wants to play those big cards now, or if he wants to really just wait on the draw.
He can still kill them in 2 hits, but the Dark Beasts, I imagine what he'll be waiting for is the Viragos. The Tormented Demon, he can still kill that in 2 hits, that'd be worth it. But yes, now that he is lower, that certainly makes it harder more risky again, if your attack is lowered as well to gain. Go ahead.
Especially with his health as well, it's a little bit of a risk thinking, is Linza going to damage me on this turn sort of thing.
Here he's looking to play Count Draenor, so doesn't want to Tormented Demon right away. So he's concerned about weapon destruction coming out of Suki, like a Tool Belt or a Major Mary, so he's only going to use that first charge, gain 4 health off the Count Draenor, and even though he still has a weapon, he had a contingency plan. He was like, if this weapon gets destroyed, I don't want to get shafted and absolutely get bum destroyed by a Tormented Demon, which, as you can see, has a very large 4/2 thing to shaft you with. He's going to claim that 4/2 for himself, though. Very safe play, and Exils, still on 3 AP despite being Karened, and still has that weapon. I think Exils is in a tremendous spot.
I mean, one thing I will say here is the player's confident. There are a few little risks here and there being taken. Obviously, both pretty low health. Obviously, the draws don't really help with that. There hasn't been many heals come out, etc. But it's they're definitely not hesitating about taking those risks that I was talking about at the start. And I think, to be honest, Exil's dungeoneering experience, I don't know how experienced Suki is, but that's really going to help him in this style of game, because he knows that the risk versus reward sort of situation, in the sense.
Yeah, he's certainly... Tormented Demon, I think, is a great card just in general, and bringing that into here, I think maybe Tormented Demon does have a place in the Raptor. The only issue I have is like the 4 damage it deals to you, and in an aggro matchup I can see that being very punishing, but this is not an aggro matchup. Natsuki's not running a deck that will be punishing, so that 4 damage that the Tormented Demon does to yourself when you kill it, does 4 damage to each player, is not going to be as punishing here, and is, you know, really showing us that it's a great card. Barricade, though, he's debating whether or not to play. Okay, he's going to play this first.
I mean, I would have probably played. I would have played Barricade first, just to really, which he is doing now, just to sort of tank up a little bit, so he can just ensure that.
Did not get to play that final card. I think he wanted the draw. The reason he plays the KGP agent first is because he wants to draw afterwards, so that he does not discard the Virago that he may draw from it, but is not going to draw anything because he did not manage to play that Krasian Warrior at all. Barricade does come down, and as you mentioned, he's going to get that out as soon as he can. You want to get it earlier rather than later to get your health back up. But to be fair, there's not a huge amount to be concerned about coming from this Linza, unless there is some burst combo hidden in there. But considering I see work orders in the deck, I'm not sure how Natsuki would be able to fit all of these things like burst combos in. So I think Exil's probably pretty confident that he's not going to see any OTK style stuff that will kill him in a single chapter. So he's going to casually play that Barricade. He's not too. He's okay with waiting. It's not too dangerous.
Yeah. And I mean, with that Wilderness draw there as well, it gives him a little bit more aggression. If he does get a nice enough draw here, I mean, he does have a few cards he can use.
Will he draw the Virago, though? That is the question.
That is the big question. I'm not sure.
I don't necessarily think he needs it. His opponent on 4 base attack as well does not find that, so that would be a sure way to deal a lot of damage through the Revenant Dark Beast in the Wilderness. The issue is killing it, because you take a lot of damage doing that, but I think once you get that Sergeant Slime Toes, you bring yourself up to 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you could kill it in 2 hits. The thing is, though, we haven't seen any weapon destruction out of Suki, and the question is, like, even if he had the Virago, would he play? He is going to, kill the Revenant Dark Beast, or is he? He's thinking about it. He's thinking, maybe, do I just take this weapon into the final fight and play it safe? Or do I...
I mean, personally, I'd try and tank and then just take the weapon in myself, to be honest. Just at this point, for the simple reason, they're relatively close on health. Unless Linza plays a big strike, or something along those lines. He's got very little time left. Is he going to make a decision?
The Ice Nile does go down just in time, but these clutch moments, right? He missed his draw, and I'd like to wonder what those 2 cards would have been, and how those 2 cards he didn't draw in the previous chapter would have influenced his gameplay decisions. But here, he does dodge the weapon destruction, and of course this is going to bring him up to exactly what he needs to get that Ice Nile out, and then he's going to Wilderness for some damage before the final fight. I think this is... but the KGP agent, or not the Kaizash tournament does come out, and now Linza has more base attack than the Raptor here, and
I mean, she's got more health and also more armor as well. So, combined more health and armor. So, she doesn't now, obviously, but...
Yeah, but she's going to hit him back for 5, so it's going to stay fairly regular. Actually, I think... so he's on 23, right? Which is just slightly above his opponent there. I think this is a close one. I'm not actually sure who's going to win here, because Exils does get the first strike. That's pretty big. But, Exils is on lower health, and Linza does have more attack power, so over time she will win the game. But Raptor gonna win it, coming down to 3 health on that final chapter there. That was really, really close. And
couldn't have asked it to be any closer.
Yeah, I think did the Wilderness add 2 extra damage? I think without that Wilderness he wouldn't have won, because the 2 extra damage there, and his opponent would have survived the final hit and then gotten to hit back. So that Wilderness placement was absolutely fine. But that does bring the game up to 1-1, I believe. Am I right?
Yes, I believe so.
What a close match for that second one there.
I mean, to be honest, I think this may mean a change of deck from one of the 2, for the simple reason they are very evenly matched decks. However, they both know each other's decks so well now. Well, not so well, but they know them well enough to know the style of play they're trying to do. So if they do have a deck which could counteract that play.
Yeah, and they actually will be playing different decks. They cannot play decks that they have won games with. So Raptor is now disabled for, of course, for Exils, and I believe, was it Linza? No, it was Raptor as well. It was Raptor for Natsuki in that very first game. So Exil's going to be playing Linza here versus Natsuki playing of course, Venescula. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Venescula really wants to be on 3 attack power, so she can kill all those high-impact creatures like, of course, Fern and Troll Chucker, and make those leech creatures much more effective. But here, Linza has many ways. There's 2 of them. Dust Devil, extremely good. taking the attack down, and that's where Veneskula's going to have a hard time if she can't be at 3 attack here. So Linza, if he has enough healing in this, this could be a very good matchup for Exiles. But
he's got that 7 heal on the first round if he does play it. I doubt he will, obviously, but he does have that in his hand there. So
wow, the double Dust Devil coming out. He's anticipating his opponent gaining attack power in this chapter, and if he doesn't, if his opponent does not gain any attack power, the second one won't be of any use.
It's irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have saved that one. I don't know if I would have saved that second Dust Devil. As you say, it is a big risk, but the likelihood is that it's going to go from a very passive game to probably a very aggressive game now. So maybe, he's taken 1 Dust Devil out. I mean,
he's thinking about it. He's like, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe I just save it for the next chapter there. And there you see the Goblin Raider coming out, so he can Dust Devil slot 1. So he's not going to double Dust Devil. He certainly was thinking about it there. But
I do find
one will suffice for now. And playing the Ice Warrior in slot 1, I'd like to point that out rather than the Goblin Raider. Ice Warrior will be more guaranteed to resolve the Dust Devil. It's still going to jiggle this around a bit. Actually, maybe he's going to go for the double Dust Devil.
He's going to go for 2 Dust Devils. I mean, the thing is, Veneskula is such a... Is it Veneskula? Veneskula?
Yeah,
Veneskula, I think.
I really like this, actually.
Yeah, she's a very hard legend to read as well, hero to read as well, in a sense. So, he's basically going on a gut instinct, I think, on this first hand.
Yeah.
Which...
that's okay.
Not a good shout.
So here we see the Alpha Werewolf coming out, bringing him down into mortal range right away, and when that the effect resolves, it does 8 damage because he is in mortal range. Now, 3 gold is huge, and that, if he has some sort of gold gain in slot 2, he could end up gorging this chapter as well, and swinging the life back into his favor, and just Veneskula can, chapter 1, Alpha Werewolf Gorge is a huge amount of damage there. But we see the Dust Devil is absolutely going to pay off. They're going to bring Natsuki down to 2 AP there, and then the second one will bring him down to 1. And
very good call there. Very good call from him.
Yeah, and I think it's something that is quite likely to happen in Veneskula. She does have a number of ways to get AP early on, of course, with the 2 KGP agents and the Kaizaj tournaments that she'll be mulliganing for. That's an important thing to look for. And other Veneskula can also run sort of a more Raptor style build as well. Or cards that you'd associate with Raptor, more like Dagannoth Sentinels, and you can build AP even further. But that's gonna really hurt Natsuki being on 1 attack. He does have the weapon, which is some benefit to him. He is going to be able to kill some 3 health creature, or at least 1. Here, though, what does Alex draw? Ogre Brute coming in as well.
Yes,
I'm not necessarily sure if he'll play that, though.
I don't think he will this round, to be honest. For the simple reason, he does want 1 card that can take AP down if it's
just
rebuilt.
2 cards this chapter.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's better to play those 2 than to play the third Ogre Brute as the third one, or wherever he was going to play it, as you say.
I think the Ogre Brute, keeping that is the absolute right thing to do. Right?
He's just drawn another Ogre Brute as well.
There's the other one. I like having 2 in there as well. The added consistency of making sure you can. There's the bar fight coming out, and I like that bar fight placement. Of course, if Linza had equipped a weapon in slot 1 that would deny something like Varrock Museum or some other sort of a kind of weapon generating, and I thought maybe we'd even see one up there. But yeah, Exils gonna double his health with the stack of sharks, and that's a card he's particularly fond of. Bringing himself up to 22. Did not manage to get as much health as he was looking for due to the bar fight doing an extra damage, but there's only 1 health that was missed there. I think in a very good spot, and as we can see, Veneskula struggling a bit because she did not play anything, or very little, just 1 bar fight that chapter here. And I'm
wondering how her draw is, to be honest. I'm not sure her draw is ideal at all.
Well, I mean, being on 1 attack, it might not even be the draw. You might be drawing all the cards that you'd normally want as Veneskula, but being on having your attack reduced down to 1, it makes it very difficult to kill any of them. But KGP coming out... It
does indeed.
And I think he's going to be okay with... It doesn't really matter what he discards here. There's obviously going to be cards he'll want to keep in his hand, but,
of course.
I can't remember... I don't remember what was in his hand, but we'll see what he gets rid of. Corpse Archer, that is one he probably did want to keep, but for the time being, probably doesn't need that weapon at the moment. And then Tool Belt going to come out here. I like this placement because if his opponent did, equip that weapon in slot 1, like a Sergeant Slimetoes to help him ramp up. There it is, a Sergeant Slimetoes. Natsuki going to be dodging that, and a bar fight from him as well, actually, earlier. To has placing these weapon destructions in very logical positions where Linza is more likely to have a weapon. He's looking out for that. Where will Linza place the weapon? Here I'll place the bar fight to interact with the weapon to, deny a repurpose, deny a work order. Well, not necessarily work order. I don't think that's in the day, but you know what I mean there. But just 6 life Natsuki is on. But there's
that proves
Go ahead.
That proves how much damage those Dust Devils did. I mean, to take the risk to go down to 6 health on the 4th round.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a risk with the AP drop you just wouldn't take, and obviously with the AP not being dropped, you would play bigger cards. So
and there's a Fern coming out as well.
that's going to damage.
It depends what he plays, right? His opponent does have the 3/2 weapon, and he'll be looking to kill perhaps a big creature that with 3 health, maybe like a Dagonov Fledgling. But the
Count Draenor.
Count Draenor does come out, and that's he's gonna use both his weapon durability on that apparently, and then maybe a Cull Neuromancer. No, a Sergeant Slimetoes. Actually, it wouldn't be a Cull. What am I talking about? It would have going straight up to 6. And
this is going to be...
that's game. He's going to take 8 damage from the Sergeant Slimetoes, and he started the fight on 7 HP. So that is the game number 2 going to Exils. Does take the series versus Natsuki, who is eliminated, and Exils progresses to the quarterfinals.
That was a very, very close game.
A very well-built deck as well, I might add. I think this deck is actually was perfectly picked against what Natsuki brought, which was a deck that wants to build its AP, and the double Dust Devil start, and I don't think it's that uncommon to get 2 AP reducing things, considering there's 2 AP boots and 2 Dust Devils there, but does conclude that series, and I am going to woo, he says, absolutely. But I think that is it from this particular series. We've ran 4 minutes over, so the next one will be starting very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that. My name has been Interjection. Do follow the stream if you've been enjoying it, and of course, Picosco, if you want to hear more from him, where can they find you?
Thanks for having me, by the way. Yeah, I am on twitch.tv/Picosco. If you want very bad gameplay, I'm your man. And
that wonderful voice.
Oh, don't stop it. I'm actually blushing now, and no man has ever made me blush.
But that's it from us. We need to keep to the schedule. I think with 4 minutes over, we'll be back after this short break.
They're starting their next match very shortly. We'll get Zalchus in here. Get him for the next one because he's casting with you, correct?
Sorry about that.
The next one
that was fun. Don't worry. That was good.
That was they were really good.
Yeah, that was fantastic commentary. That was excellent.
It means a lot, man. Thank you. Even though I said some stuff about cars, it's a little bit.
I need you to give me the links to those streams. I don't know what they are.
I can probably find one.
Yes, he's right.
I had that a second ago as well. Oh, a free.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the RuneScape Chronicle Legend Tournament Invitational. This is a community-ran single bracket elimination tournament featuring some of the game's top players from Ladder and Twitch. And today we do have Game 3 of the 4 that are taking place today for the round of 16. The previous half of this round of 16 happened yesterday, and the results, you can watch the past broadcast. I believe that's available now on Twitch. And of course, today this is the second half of the round of 16, and will determine the players who go through for tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, Saturday will be our quarterfinals, and Sunday will be the semi-finals and the grand finals, and that should be a lot of fun. Lots of Chronicle action coming over the weekend, so stay tuned, of course. My name is Interjection, and I'll be bringing you the action live once again here on twitch.tv/interjection videos, of course. And at this time, I am joined by Exils, who just finished his match against Natsuki. How are you feeling?
Pretty hyped, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was some really good games there. They were really close. That Raptor game coming down to just 3 HP. That was a tight one. That was definitely yeah. But both of you played really well. I saw Suki, making some really nice calls with his weapon durability, destruction, and things like that. But we are waiting for Freeb and Brio's streams to go live, and then we will be starting imminently, of course. But this is, let me go through the rules. It's the first time I've done this today. I should have been doing this earlier, but we've had the games have been happening much more quickly then, so we've had less time to speak, I suppose. But yes, the rules for this, of course, the rules for this first round of the event, of course, round of 16, will be best of 3 conquests. So what that means is each player has 3 different legends, which they have already submitted decks for. Those decks are, of course, locked in and cannot be changed for the remainder of the tournament. And for a player to progress to the next round, they must win 2 games in total. However, each time they win with a legend, they will no longer be able to play that legend for the remainder of the series today. The winner will progress to the round of 8, which is being played tomorrow on Saturday, and of course the loser will be eliminated. So there is that, and yes, for this tournament, any donations or tips received on this stream will be going to the prize pool, so hopefully we can generate a little something on the line to make those final games a bit more tense. I believe $20 has already been put up by Ty Flicky, so there is something there, and it should be a lot of fun. Still waiting for Freeb to go, well, both streams to go live. But earlier, I believe Freeb was streaming, and his title was Freeb Shenanigans, Reading Books to Chat. And I thought that was very funny because of we know Freeb is very, very fond of the Ancient and Lunar spellbooks, right, Exils?
Yep. Yeah, that's generally the way he seems to be playing as Ariane, so...
Yeah, I think a lot of people are playing them as well. So maybe we'll see that coming out from him in the tournament. But
perhaps.
Freeb... Yeah, I like the card arts you've built here. I really, really like them. There's hidden jokes in all of the ones that you've made so far. Hopefully people have been working out your cryptic messages. I am enjoying that. But Freeb versus Brio. Can you tell us a bit more about these players? Like, where have they been on ladder and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know Freeb's been on gold ladder now for, 2 weeks? 2 promotions straight now. Generally coming in the top 5. I think right now he's ranked 3. As for Brio, I believe he was silver last bracket, now in gold. Is that correct?
Moving up.
Yep, he's moving up in the world, as you do. Catching up to all those gold scrubs.
Yeah.
Climbing ladder.
Your Tormented Demons. I really like that, by the way.
Tormented Demons, man. Such an underrated card. Yeah, they're really good. It's built in KL. Generally, you take 4 damage most of the times with a Slime Toes. Really good. Gives you an AP. Like, you can't really complain.
Yeah, I think it's a very strong card. You know, you definitely, when you were put down to 1 attack and you were able to get back up again with the 4-2 weapon, you know, definitely shining through right there. My only concern with it is perhaps in the aggro matchups where that 4 damage that you take, and obviously it's quite big, can be a bit concerning. And obviously we're just speaking about this to fill time whilst we wait for these streams to start. I like the choice, and of course, you know, interesting things that are different are always going to do better in tournaments perhaps than in ladder play.
I agree. Like, you can always replace them with Jads and generally do the same thing, except Jads can be a bit more risky and you're a bit more vulnerable to grief because you can't exactly just barricade a Jad.
No, you can't
barricade a Tormented Demon.
You could also run
you don't want to be barricading
possibly, or run a defense potion in your deck. That could be. Yeah. It's an interesting combo, right? I mean, in defense potion, very strong in dungeoneering, right? So no reason why it wouldn't work. There's plenty of 4. Well, there's Tormented Demon. Anyway, that's besides the point. We are still waiting for these. They've definitely started. Is that correct, Ty Flicky? Oh, yes, it is. Here we go. We have life in the stream. I can now turn this one on and make it full screen so that we can see. This is, of course, somebody's view. This one, I believe, is Freeb's
Brio's view.
Oh, Brio's
Should
view.
be Brio's.
Yeah, that is Brio's. You are correct. Okay, so they should be starting very, very soon by the looks of it.
Definitely.
Yep.
So how have you thought the tournaments went so far in Injection?
I've been enjoying it. The first day went a bit. I think we had a few teething issues, and there's Freeb stream coming up as well. So it looks like they're going to get into this. Well. That is good. Yeah, had a few teething issues, but I think we've fixed the sound quality, and of course people have been. We've got 2 streams to cast from today, so that's absolutely something we can do. Let's get rid of this timer, shall we? I don't know why that's showing on the screen.
Yep. Looks like they're about to go into game now.
Yeah, and the commentary today, I think I've been able to focus more on the games, so I hope I've been delivering more insight into the games as well. But we are now on the deck selection screen. We're looking at Brio here, and by the looks of it, he has 3 decks named Tournament Ariane, Tournament Veins, and Tournament Ozan. The question is, which will he pick? And, that is the question. What do you think?
I'd love to see him go Ariane. Ariane. We haven't actually seen much Ariane recently. I've the general spellbook Ariane. So it'd be nice to see. And obviously Freeb's got a deck named Books. I wonder what it contains.
I wonder what it contains, especially with
I wonder what it contains.
Alright, so here I believe let's turn this on as well. Okay, so our first matchup is Ariane being picked by Freeb there versus Brio.
Yep.
Playing, of course, as Venescula. So the Venescula versus Ariane matchup, and this one, this is definitely an aggressive matchup. We're definitely going to see people ending the game pretty quickly there. So what are we looking at? What is the Venescula player drawing?
Well, we're looking at Venescula's hand right now. We're seeing Troll Chuckers, Burns, we're seeing a Bar Fight, a Gorge. So we're expecting a very aggressive deck here.
Yeah, but what I think here is...
actually...
Go ahead.
Go on. Go you first.
Okay, I was going to mention, I think what we're looking to mulligan for, I think here, possibly going to be looking for that AP. Well, obviously going to be looking for that AP. KGP Agent Kaizash Tournament wants to get up to that magic number 3, but going to keep those other high-impact cards in his hand.
Yeah.
Does not manage to find them, but that's okay. He does have the Scorpion and, of course, the Ring of Recoil as well. Whereas if we switch over the Freeb, he's already slammed a turn in Exiles.
Yeah, exactly. He's going straight for it. He's got a Penguin Sheep in there and everything else. Looks like Spellbook off on turn 1, which is great. Temple for Freeb. An interesting fact, though, that since he's played that Penguin Sheep, that makes that Ring of Recoil that little bit better for Brio.
Yeah, that does. Yeah,
as it won't be dealing 2 damage instead of 1.
Yeah, I like
instead of 2.
I do like the positioning of the Penguin Sheep, though, going first. Of course, Ariane is going first, going to play the Penguin Sheep early on, and, you may want to think about that for the Ring of Recoil and place it further on, but I think the real reason it's in slot 1 is because of Ogre Brute, right? And that card is going to reduce you to 1 AP, and Penguin Sheep, you need to have 2 attack for it to resolve, and he really does need that gold, so he needs to place it in slot 1 to absolutely guarantee that he will have that 5 gold available to him. The Gnome Keeler coming in strong there, does manage to heal up some.
Did really well for Venescula there. Basically tanked an entire fun.
Yep.
Sadly, the fun didn't hit anything though, so we kind of nulled each other out, I guess.
Yeah, Fern did not hit anything, and he took the 4 damage from it, but didn't matter too much because it was healed. But Fern not too good if it doesn't hit anything interesting, and Ariane doesn't run particularly many large minions, so there is a problem that Fern does not have any gold associated with it, and that is because of that, Fern can be a real tempo loss. But Freeb, if we switch over to him, he does find all three spellbooks. That's not what he wants to see. He's not going to find anything useful to. He's not going to be able to borrow power into anything for the time being. But all of the Lunar spellbooks, of course, they're very good without setup. You don't need anything.
That's actually a clever combo. I didn't. You can borrow power into the sheep, which then gives you the 5 gold.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Yeah, gonna bring himself up above 1 AP, and then he's able to spend it there.
Exactly.
So he's gonna make use of that Penguin Sheep and the gold. But those books definitely not what he's looking for. But at least he did manage to find the Lunar spellbook on chapter 1 and does that out. Of course, Venescula here going to continue her damage agenda, still on 2 AP, but has and because of that, he's not going to be able to do very much this chapter. It's his mulligan was not perhaps aggressive enough for that early AP. And as a result of that, he is not going to be able to get it. But I'm not sure what's in the deck. He might have hungers in there. Maybe it was an appropriate mulligan. But as a result of that, wasn't able to do very much this chapter, right?
No. He hasn't got much gold either, so that's putting him behind in terms of getting gorgeous.
Yeah, did
Take
we lose
6 damage a swap.
Oh, I thought you cut out there for a second.
Did I?
Yeah, no, you're back. It's absolutely fine. But yes, let's take a look at Ariane here. Does drop, finds the Melzar, the Ogre Chieftain, and the Enfeeble there. So this, what's he going to?
This should be an interesting one.
Putting the cabbages in his opponent's hand. Now, we see Venescula has a very large hand, right? And those cabbages are going to be a real pain for her. But, does potentially discard one
vengeance, right?
Sorry?
It buffs vengeance as well, which is another thing.
Well, I think vengeance is one that's dependent on your hand size as opposed to your opponent's. But certainly,
it is, isn't it? Right.
But no, you're absolutely right with regards to Yoga Shaman. That's probably why it's in there. And that adding cards that grieves your opponent, of course, adds extra damage. But let's take a look at this. Melzar, we're looking at Brio's screen currently, at least I am. 3 cabbages pop in, and I suppose here now KGP Agent hopefully discards a cabbage for this player, or at least he's hoping that. Does lose the Lady's A. That is not good. That's one of the cards that he. But now he's up to 3 attacks, so it's okay to discard cards like that. He's now able to kill that's possibly one of the stronger ones. Boost, though, coming in strong, Zal.
Boost. So strong. So strong.
14
Dealt
damage.
so much damage from there, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the second Lunar off as well.
And
so Brio's in a tricky situation right now, I'd say. 1 health after comes in.
Yeah, and I mentioned it was okay to discard the Lady's A, but actually, having seen now this Saucy Wench deck hand, that is not the case. I mentioned, now that he's up to 3 AP, I thought it would be okay to lose the cards that were less conditional, those ones that you don't need to be on 3 AP to play. But Vengeance,
I think that's basically game.
Bringing him down to 3, and without Lady's A, there's no, catch-up in he's got 3 cannonballs there.
There's nothing
without
you can
the
do.
Lady's A, that's going to be
Freeb's first turn, and he's also got a Vengeance in hand, which basically kills him.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. All of this discussion is completely irrelevant, right? Vengeance coming down in slot 1. Freeb's already slammed that in. It doesn't matter what he does here. The damage coming in is going to be more than 3, and that does endgame number 1 going to, of course, Freebadakaka.
The thing is now Freeb's won with a spellbook deck. Generally, I'd say that's probably the strongest deck as well, as he's been doing a lot of ladder with it. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes with this now.
It will be. I want to see what he's next up. I know he's certainly very good with the spellbook deck, and I've Been seeing that on ladder a lot recently. But I imagine that he also has a Venescula build and an Ozan build, which I know is very capable. And he calls it Freebzan, I believe. But so he's definitely got that still lined up. But for the time being, going to be opening with next class will be Venescula, and this is potentially match point if he can win this there. Looking at Freeb's opening hand, what does he have?
He had Ogre Brute, but he mulliganed it away. This is an interesting one. I guess you're in an aggro match, you don't.
Yeah, that 10 life, right? That you don't want to take 10 straight away, and that can be really punishing. Considering we look at the hand from the Ozan player there. He's got everything he needs to do an absolute ton of damage very quickly, and all of this, even if he was reduced to 1 attack, would be absolutely okay, right? He wouldn't mind being at 1 attack. Obviously, it'd be not something he wants to be at, but he would be okay with that. And the 10 damage on that Freeb would take would be too big for him. So here, what is he looking to mulligan for? He's having a hard time deciding.
I'd probably toss the Giant Spider at this point, because you may as well. You probably kill into Rowdy Canny into a Skeleton Champion, most likely.
Yeah.
So I'll probably toss the Giant Spider, as it's not going to do much. Do you get rid of the Wilderness? I don't think you do, actually. I think you keep everything except the Giant Spider.
Yeah.
He's getting rid of the Rowdy Canny. Okay. He's mulligan.
Going to mulligan the Wilderness away. They're possibly looking for a Ketzek or something.
Yeah.
Fern is pretty good. Or maybe he was looking for Ogre Brute. That could be a card he was looking for that's potentially random. Certainly Freeb likes to run that. And whether or not he's brought it, we don't know. But I expect that he probably has. But anyway, the point is in this matchup, does find the Fern. And that's going to be pretty good against Venescula. Especially since she's still... Well, she's on 2 attack right now.
Yeah. Oh. I was going to say, I hope he wasn't playing Skeletal Champion slot. That would have been a lot of damage. But no, the Fern there's going to land on the White Wolf, basically buffing up to a 3-9, which is going to deal quite a bit of damage to Freeb, since he's only on 9, so it's going to take an extra, 5? So it's looking pretty good there for the start. He's ramping into KBG as well, get that extra damage out there, into a Wilderness as well, so that wasn't bad for him.
Yeah,
Brio's doing pretty well there.
I was just sorting out the streams, they desynced for me.
Yeah, no worries. That's fine. No worries though, just I don't think I would have done Brio's play there if it was me. I think he mulliganed away too much damage. I probably would have kept.
Well, he was possibly looking for something very specific, and we don't know what is in his deck. I imagine he had a very nice combo there, and he was probably aware of that. Could slam the KL into this thing. The issue with this play is he doesn't have anything to use this weapon on, right? He's really hoping to draw that. There comes out a 3 damage Lady Zay. Freeb not going to be holding on to that for the time being to build it up, and that might be potentially due to. Well, anyway, let's hope. Brio's certainly hoping to find something, and I imagine.
Ooh.
Let's see what it is. Otherwise, this weapon could be. There's another. Skeleton Champion's pretty good, right? He can slam his weapon into that. The issue, though, is potentially the weapon gets removed. Let's switch over to Freeb, and he does have. He's going second, so it does not it might not be his.
It's a risky play by Freeb, in my opinion. Putting the heal at the end there. I think that might have just cost him the game. Let's find out, shall we?
Snapshot coming out with the 7 damage. He really wanted to get that Darux off, and look, it's so strong that Darux bringing him up. But the 6 damage coming out, that's actually 5 damage, so he's still alive.
Yeah, it's lost him again. No, it's lost him again. The Ring Recoil kills Freeb for 4, and down he goes. And with that match, Brio takes that.
Yeah, Brio taking...
Brio takes that.
Game number 2 then. The interesting thing there was, if he had... Wilderness in slot 1, he would have been able to hit that Skeleton Champion weapon and then deny that snapshot. Well, no, he was going second. That's why he didn't. The snapshot would have paid off, but the second Skeleton Champion, that would have taken. Brio would have taken a lot of damage fighting that, and it certainly would have been a different game there. The issue with that though was getting the. Since he was going second, he thought his opponent would be guaranteed to use that weapon charge up, and it wouldn't be worth trying to attack him. So I can see why you didn't take that risk, and I absolutely, I think he stands by that play. I think it makes sense to try and not block it there. But Ozan showing us how much damage potential that can really do, and the mulligan worked out for him in the end. Yeah,
I think we can say though that Brio, I got really lucky with the draw there. Pulling into this, the second Skeletal Champion, a snapshot and a Ring Coil. That was a lot of damage he pulled from the mulligan. So, yeah, his draws were really good.
Yeah, he did, man. He found exactly what he needed, right? He was going into the next chapter with just the weapon there. Found exactly the snapshot and the Skeleton Warrior, which was really, really good for him. and did manage to
The
take up
RNG
that win there.
gods.
But that does bring
Yeah.
the score back up to 1-1. So this now is going to be our deciding game between these two
Actually,
players.
that was the deciding game.
Was it?
We completely missed game 1. It was a chapter 1
Really?
sweep.
Oh.
I guess Brio took
wow.
it really quickly with an ogre brute into a bar fight last slot. Ozan lost his weapon, so Brio took that one really fast, and streams never caught up. So we completely missed
Wow.
game 1.
Oh,
We missed
so,
game on. So...
Well, that's a
So
shame.
that was the rubber match.
Okay, so let me just get this correct then. Brio won 2-1?
Brio won 2-1. Yes.
Damn. So
Okay.
Freeb gets knocked out the
Freeb
tournament.
is eliminated then. Okay, so
Wow,
that
this is
happened.
interesting. This is interesting. It's this tournament's taking quite a turn. Like
I think Freeb
We're
was
seeing
possibly
people-
the favourite. That's what you're mentioning.
Yeah.
You're certainly top 3 in gold ladder currently and
Exactly.
in the previous season. Freeb definitely a strong player, but that happens. And Brio's certainly a very good player
Yeah.
as well. Absolutely deserves his spot in the next round, and well done to him. The Ozan deck clearly very well built, drew into exactly what he needed. And, a nicely well-built deck, nicely well-rounded, I would imagine. And, of course, I do have the lists, which I can look at later. But that does conclude
Exactly.
the third series. We do have one more coming
Yeah.
up for today. Tomorrow will, of course, be the quarterfinals, so stay tuned for that. But, yeah, right now, coming up in just a moment, we do have the final game of the day. Stay tuned, everybody. My name has been Interjection. Do follow the stream if you're enjoying it. And, Exils, if people want to hear more from you, where can they go?
they can find me at twitch.tv/exalt. I'm also on Reddit and the forums.
Yeah,
You can find
everyone
me
should know
anywhere,
you by now.
generally. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
the forum mod, the Reddit mod, and a lot of people's chat mods.
Yep.
But that's it from us. We'll be
Exactly,
back
yeah.
with the next match very, very shortly.
See you around.
Alright, hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the RuneScape Chronicle Legend Tournament Invitational. This is our community-ran 16-player single-bracket elimination tournament featuring some of the game's top players from ladder and Twitch, and that is particularly relevant right now. We do have, straight away we can get into this by the looks of it. Let me load up OBS. What's the matchup, Tyflicky?
We have Ryan and Wolf. Wolf being the #1 player consistently for the past few weeks. I guess since the game is... a few weeks. Since open beta has come out, for sure he's been on top. And he was on top there in the closed beta as well.
Yeah.
And Ryan, he's definitely been stepping his game up. And he's a solid player himself.
Yeah, so the mulligan here, we're looking for this, by the looks of it, coming out of... I think on my... Whose screen do I have? This is Ryan there.
We've got Ryan as Linza, and Wolf is
Living
playing
Rock
of the
Brawler.
Neskula.
And the Dwarven Miners and the Revenant Orc. This is a weapon, Linza, with Pulverize that's looking to build a weapon and pulverize as soon as possible. Just burst them out really, really fast, and it looks very, very dedicated to that agenda, judging from the cards that are in there. Does not find the cards he needs to get anything done relevant on Chapter 1, perhaps lacking the gold draw for that Dragon Longsword, so he can't start building that with the Living Rock Brawlers and that. The White Wolf is going to help him fill his hand up, but he's going to really, really need to find the cards to help him do that. On the other hand... Wolf is playing a Veneskula, opening with the Moena that's not going to hit anything there. So this, by the looks of it, looks like a more sort of aggressive, an aggressive Veneskula, probably similar to the ones that we've already seen. Haunted Leech coming out, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to
Wolf
reiterate
plays a very
the point you
standard
said.
Neskula.
about Wolf, on top of his game. He was definitely on top in the closed beta, and for the past 2, I believe we're calling them stages, has been, at the top of the ladder, gold rank 1. So this is the best player in the game as far as ladder is concerned. Look at that, Linza down to 15, going down even further, Type Lucky.
Yeah, down to the 12 there with that ship. Lady Zay, not going to have any cannonballs, it's just doing the 3, but that's still a decent value.
He really needs to find something, right? He really needs to find that gold gain. Looking at
not getting it.
Well, he finds just enough to get.
There's
Ali
the
Morrisane is going to enable the Dragon Longsword by the looks of it, and then he's going to be able to kill the Virago and start.
Chain.
Yeah, that's huge. Look, he's got a Revenant Ore, he's got another Wilderness, he's got a Pulverizing. Let's switch over to Wolf, and he's really thinking through the turn here. He's not sure what he's up against, but he does know that his opponent has a very poor draw. Is going to start with that Fern, which is going to cause a lot of damage to be done to his opponent. And
that's a fantastic Fern spot for him too, because that's going to hit the Virago.
It is. It is absolutely going to do that. But Venescula, Fern coming out, going to do so much damage, right? And then I believe we saw a Alpha Werewolf come down. Like, I think if Linza has enough time, if Linza can do it, she can get that weapon up, that Virago weapon, and start spanking her opponent in the face with all of the Wildernesses and doing damage. But the question is, will she have enough HP to get to that point in the game? And
I'm not there sure that she will interjection.
Sorry?
She's going to take 14 from Virago right there, and that's it.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying, right? It's like, does she have enough HP to get to that point in the game? And the answer, by the looks of it, is absolutely not.
Definitively no.
Yeah, going to be absolutely destroyed by a huge Virago. A very fast game there, but that deck, I think, very all in on the weapon striking agenda. And the Chapter 1 letting him down, I know that deck can perform very, very potently if it gets a good start.
If you just got beat like that, do you play the same deck again, or do you try to switch things up?
That is the question, right? And, well, if we take a look,
it does look like he's going to go ahead and switch things up. It's going to be a Raptor Mirror matchup.
I am just waiting.
This is kind of the one that Wolf is known for, being the Darkstrike Raptor. This is kind of the deck that he's championed. You can see who do you have pulled up? We see in Wolf's hand, throwing back the heals, throwing back the Wilderness, gonna hold on to 3 attack power upgrades.
And the Kale. And there's the 4th one as well. That's a really nice opening. I think the only issue with Wolf's hand there is, of course, the lack of draw. He's got a White Wolf, so that is okay. And he's going to be okay because of that really nice opening, lots of attack power, and that's, of course, what he's mulliganing for. Equally, though, it does look like, of course, Ryan is going to find a double KGP agent as well. So going to get that nice attack power going, both of these Raptor players. And he has the Virago as well. He has it already. So this matchup is definitely in favor of him now that he's found that Virago. Particularly strong card at the moment that may or may not, well, I think it does need addressing, but a very strong card. He's going to be very happy to have found that, and he's going to have no problems getting towards it. The question is, what do you do? He's got no draw, and playing the KGP agents risks losing the Virago, right?
That is so true, and that's why he's only going to play the 1. He's going to cross his fingers and pray that it doesn't discard that, because that's really the linchpin in this piece.
Yeah, he does lose the Dark Beast, which he kind of probably wanted, but definitely better than losing the Virago. Yeah. To be fair, he probably wanted every card in his hand. That's the problem with the KGP agent at that point, and not being able to follow it up with any kind of draw. Raptor, by the looks of it, we do see. Oh, I didn't quite catch the cards that he drew, but we'll see them in his hand in just a moment. And of course, Wolf gonna bring a Kale weapon into the next chapter. He is going first, so Wolf is gonna, he has that flexibility, he has that initiative to use that weapon in his slot 1 on this chapter without it being destroyed, because of course
he knows he gets a hit off on that for sure. Yep. And he does have the Virago there.
Does find Virago.
Mousing over it.
Wow, he could go for that right now. Look, he could kill that in 2 hits with his Kale weapon, picks up the giant weapon, and then he's got Revenant Dark Beast into the Wilderness there.
He was thinking about throwing that in slot 2, and that's a really dangerous play, because if Ryan had anything to negate that weapon, he could be tanking a lot, but it doesn't look like he does.
I think the main thing he's thinking about
pressure
is the weapon destruction, and he wants to, if he was to lose that Kale, like if his opponent tries to kill the Kale weapon, what the weapon he'll actually hit is the Virago weapon, so he moved it up a slot, but then of course if you lose the weapon, it's going to be very hard to kill a Virago anyway. You need at least 5 attack to kill it in 3 hits, but nothing comes out, no punishment in that regard. And what are we going to see from the Virago? That is we know. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, we've got a 8-4 going up to 15 for that strike, so that takes him, cuts his health instantly in half. Plus, he's going to have the 8 armor. Wolf is in a really, really dominant position. We've got a wilderness coming up.
Holy crap.
And it's going to be, with the 2 extra damage. That's it. So, Wolf.
That's
Wolf has taken that one.
A chapter 2 Virago. That could not have gone better.
Chapter 2.
Yeah,
wow.
So smooth. Like that exactly there demonstrates the power of Virago and why that card may need to be checked out, because if you can get that as early as slot 1 in chapter 2, straight into the Dark Beast, into the wilderness, and the Dark Beast then draws the location being another wilderness, which is exactly useful for continuing to strike your opponent if you haven't already killed them. But that does conclude the final series within the space of like 5 minutes. Wolf showing us
Virago
that he
2, Ryan 0.
Yeah.
Yes.
Virago 2. Oh, Wolf telling it that like, and his stream's already gone off as well. I love it.
Yeah,
it's just like I'm done here.
Goodness gracious! I was like, I want to cast this Wolf game. He's a fantastic player. I want to see what he brings to the table. Yeah, chapter 2, both times, clean in the house.
Yeah,
so
Wolf
you will see him in the round of 8 tomorrow.
That is absolutely right. Wolf showing us that he is a very, very dominant player, very strong at the game. Of course, he may have gotten the perfect Chapter 2 Virago.
There is a little bit of lucky going on.
I don't think that, Wolf a very well-deserved space in the next round there, and I imagine he has the potential to go very, very far in this tournament. But, a very fast series ending there, but I think that is all 4 games from us today. We are finished for the time being, so a nice 2.5 hours of entertainment. Hopefully that was good. And tomorrow we'll be back at the same time, which of course is... Do you want to tell us that?
We should be 6 o'clock Eastern Standard. That's 11 UTC and midnight British.
I think it's an hour. I think it's 10 UTC and 11
10
British.
UTC, 11 British. Yeah.
So that's right. Of course, all of this information is available on Reddit, the Chronicle Reddit. Do go check that out. You'll find that there if you're interested in joining us tomorrow. But that is it from us. Thank you very much for watching. My name has been Interjection. And
I'm Ty Flicky. Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Yep.
Ah!